Welcome to the Livecosts Construction Experience Podcast. I'm Ciaran Brennan, co-founder of Livecosts.com. Finally, the construction sector has entered its digital transformation, meaning the way we operate our projects and businesses day to day is being disrupted. This podcast is designed to help you in all areas of your business. We do this by bringing in experts across all key areas of a construction business who share their stories, their challenges, wins and losses so others can learn from their experiences. To watch previous episodes, please visit Livecosts.com or search Livecosts.com across all popular social platforms. I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Livecosts Construction Experience. We've been heavy on COVID related content the last few weeks, which has gone down well actually, in trying to help lads out and give them as much content around getting back to work, which is all happening on Monday, we all know that. But we needed to change it up a little bit. So delighted this week to bring in Ireland's favourite online funny man, best-selling author and the CIFs Ambassador for Safety of 2019 and of course this year. What's the story? Rorys Stories. Rory O'Connor, how are you?
How are you getting on, Ciaran? You well?
I am indeed. Listen, we have to kick these off with the usual. How are you coping through all of this? How are you getting on? Are you coping? Are you struggling? How's that been for you? How's the whole situation been for you, I suppose?
Yeah, I suppose good and bad days, as sure everyone can relate to. Some days, you feel all right. And I find routine is when you have a good day, like you get up. For me, like, it's difficult because we're actually living with my parents, myself, my wife and our two kids, because we were one of the people, like many, that had to just move in we hoped 6 months to just get together with the deposit on the house and get a mortgage. And as you know, we couldn't have picked the worst time to be living at home because of the pandemic, so it's nice and cozy in the house. So I tried to get up with him earlier. So I have a little girl she's 7.5, so she's grand, and then a little lad, Zach, who's 1.5, so he's obviously a headbanger. So I get up with him early in the morning and breakfast, and then I tend to try work out at least 5 mornings a week just to kind of get my head right and get a bit of go in me. And then just after that, like, I'm busy obviously making a lot of videos, so I've set myself a target to try and make a video a day for the whole lockdown, and I've pretty much succeeded on that. I took a couple of days off there a fortnight ago just to kind of clear the head, but all in all, I've been at it every day. So one, it's good because making people laugh is obviously helpful these days, but also for my own head, just to keep myself thinking of ideas and filming and stuff like that. And then after that, just the usual, fucking listen to the numbers on the news and worry about what's going to happen in the future, and then go to bed and then repeat the next day.
Yeah, it was like the first couple of weeks was very much like that here as well. So I'm operating. You can't really see it, but I'm operating here from the kitchen table, like, which is a bit mad, to be honest. In the first few weeks, it was stop, stick on the news, see what's going on, 1 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then just had to put that to one side and say, it's fucking, it's wasting time, but I could always hear my wife in there crying, laughing at these sketches, your sketches, which have been brilliant for not just in this house. We cry laughing at them, but every fucking house needs something of a lift of the day. So everyone appreciated it. I first came across these sketches. I was in Australia. I spent a fair few years out in Australia, and when you're living abroad, you're itching for Irish crack. You're always looking for that bit of Irish crack. And I suppose when I was thinking about GAA sketches, what came to my mind at the time was, I don't know if you remember the Pat Short done his case on the hurling, you know all about it when you're in the 14s. Remember that one? That brilliant. When you came across with that, the GAA sketches, and of course thinking about me living in Australia, is you're itching for this bit of crack. It was a breath of fresh air. Me and the lads would be crying, laughing, sharing them around. Where did this come from? Where did the idea for online videos, and especially GAA focused videos, where did all that start? Where did you get this idea from?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a long enough story, really. I started making blogs, we'll say, where you write up a funny story in 2013. Because if truth be told, I was struggling with a gambling addiction myself, and I asked for a bit of help. Like, I hit a bit of a rock bottom, and I asked for help, and I met with a fella called Jerry Cooney from the Rutland Centre, and he basically said that you need to transfer your energy from what he described the negative to the positive platform. So, like, the positive platform is obviously where very successful people live. Like, I'm currently looking at Michael Jordan's program on Netflix, which I'm sure a lot of people are, and he's the definition of positive play. He's so driven to win. And, the platform was like, probably gambling as well, but it sounds like Michael Jordan was into the gambling. So I knew what he meant, and I went off saying I've often wanted to get into acting and comedy, and it's obviously a difficult thing to get into, especially in Ireland, because begrudgery is at a high level in this country, and we like to knock each other at times. So I just started baby steps. I started writing blogs in 2013 about myself, sharing them on Facebook, getting a few GA players like the likes of Joe Sheridan from Meath and Philly McMahon Dublin, Dean Rock Dublin, all these type of lads I would have known anyway, and they were tweeting and got a bit of reaction. Then in 2014 I set up Rorys Stories Facebook page, and the first sketch I done was a GA manager coming into a changing room and lifting the lads out of it before a county final. And as I said, I shared that evening, and the next day, the likes of the Balls that and Jordy were sharing it, going, this guy's sketch from whatever, Rory O'Connor or whatever. And then the penny just dropped that the GA was wide open. I didn't really have any set in mind to do GA content. It just happened to happen. And then I just went hammer and tongs down in the summer 2014, making sketches on various characters: the dirty cornerback, the forward, the mad mother, the referee, the linesman, hooking the whole shebang. And I suppose before I realised I had 100,000 followers on Facebook, but more importantly, before I realised that I was on the positive platform and I was working hard at content, and I'd stopped gambling completely. And then I suppose, you can really just say the rest is history. I just kept going. That was 6 years ago now. And I left my job in 2016 because I just felt that I was onto a winner.
How did that go down? I suppose you're in a similar situation to myself. Actually, you got young kids, and how did it go down when you say I'm going to pack this job in, I'm going to start making these videos? There's money to be made out here. I'm sure you got some resistance at that stage.
Yeah, I suppose I got a small. I worked in CPL recruitment, so I got a small redundancy off them. By small, I think it was maybe about 2 months' wages, which obviously it's 8 weeks. So I said, right, I have 8 weeks with this, and I had a few GA clubs lined up to do a bit of comedy for them. Listen, it was the definition of jumping in the deep end. There is no two ways about it. And even my dad would have been I don't think Rory, you should leave that job. And we only had Ella. Ella was only 1 at the time, maybe 1.5. We were renting a house, but my wife was very supportive because she does know me, and she knows that if I do put my heart into something, I won't give up. And I've always kind of had that going me. So I just went, it was very taunting. There was days, even now, obviously pandemic doesn't have where you're questioning what about the future, what's going to happen. But a great advice I got is I heard from Jim Carrey is try not worry about the pathway to the future, because all that will ever be is here and now. And I stick by that. So instead of me saying, Rory, what about in 2 years' time, just say fucking 6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks. So in other words, as long as I have work for 6 weeks where I'm going to be able to pay the bills, and I said to Emma, what do we need? She says, right, we need about 22 grand a year to survive. So I said, right, I have to earn that. And then I just went hammer and tongs, and little things started to happen. A little bit of luck, I suppose, and I got on RTE in 2016 with Republic of Italy. That gave me a bit more exposure. Then I got an agent, Dave there that you spoke to, with Robin and Outset. He came on as manager, and he kind of, I would say he dusted me down. I think I was raw, so I needed someone professional. Dave's a very educated fella. He studied well, he knows what he's on about, and I just needed that guidance. I had all the material in my head, but I just needed I needed someone to say no for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you remember the first one where you sat back and said, fucking strap in here, this is getting serious? Was there one that comes to mind where you thought, we're on here?
Not really. To be honest with you, Ciaran, a good few of them went really well. So what we done was myself and Paddy, Big Paddy that would have played the Cecil fella, he was my main kind of right hand man. Then with a few others, and we just went down to the local Dunamore Ashford pitch on a Saturday morning. We'd film 3 sketches and I'd post them Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
And then repeat that. And I remember I'd say for about 6 weeks I was waking up every morning with an extra 1,000 followers. It was just snowballing. And I had mates saying, "Oh my God, my mate who lives in Donegal shared your video and all." We thought this was gas, and I remember one day training with Brian Menton when we club. He's actually currently captain of the Meath senior team, and he was like, "Well, Rory, how many followers have you now?" And I was like, "I just hit the 2,000 mark." And he's like, "Geez, fair play to you. That's great going and keep it up." And now there's fucking 500,000 there, you know. So,
Yeah.
just persistence and a bit of belief, I suppose.
I suppose with that 500,000 following comes some negativity. There was one piece of, I suppose, controversial sketch, wasn't there? One you put out there with Enya Martin.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been a bit of a shock to you, because no harm intended, but there were obviously some people took that up the wrong way, didn't see the crack in it. I suppose, was there, how did you do that? Was that the first sort of negativity that came towards it, or first bit of controversy that came to it?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you kind of brought it up, because it was a huge part of my career, I would say, because I gotten plenty of comments like, you know, "You're not funny, give it up," all this kind of stuff. That comes with comedy. Comedy is subjective. I understand that. And there's stuff I don't find funny, and vice versa, and that's fucking 100%, you know. But I suppose the thing with the video with Enya was it just triggered a lot of, I suppose, like, strong feminists like would have obviously been against it, and just found it as very old school Ireland, like man, woman, domestic violence, and all this kind of stuff. So I suppose there's a good story behind that, actually. So me and Enya made the video. My mom actually recorded it, who would be a very down the middle woman, like, you know, wouldn't be anyway, if it was anyway controversial, tell me, and she found it funny, and I put it online. And I usually check after half an hour, and you'd have a kind of figure if it's going well or it's not. And this particular one was going well, like, you know. So the next day, myself and my family were going to Lahinch for a few days away, and we went down anyway. And long story short, we said we'd go to the Cliffs of Moher for the day. And I said I'd leave my phone at home, because sometimes, as you know, it's nice to get away from social media and just enjoy the moment. So we did, and we had a great day in Cliffs of Moher, and we come back. And I remember taking the phone out of the press or whatever, and I looked at it, and I had like maybe 2 missed calls off Enya, missed call off Dave, a couple of messages, all this. I said, "What the fuck?" So I rang Enya. It's like, what? She goes, "Rory, where were you?" I was like, "I was there." "Why?" She goes, "Have you not seen Twitter?" And I was like, "No, why?" She goes, "Oh, just check Twitter and ring me back." So I logged on to Twitter, and oh my God, the only way I can describe it to you is just like, what the fuck? You know, it was I would be used to having plenty of notifications, especially during matches where I'd be tweeting a lot or whatever, and that's fine. But this was madness. Like, it was like, go into mentions, and it was like, "At Rorys Stories is a disgrace. At Rorys Stories is a domestic violent advocate. At Rorys Stories." Oh, it was just like, wow. So it was the first time I'd experienced real trolls, like, and I mean like serious shit, like. And I won't lie, it was very difficult. I struggled myself with it. Emma's like, "Ignore them." I rang Dave. He said, "Listen, storm the teacup, it'll all blow over." I wasn't used to that. Like, it was, I've had plenty of negativity, but not to this. And like, what really sickened me, Ciaran, and this is it, I wrote about this very well in my new book, is that people who have never liked Rorys Stories from the get-go all came from under the woodwork and kicked me, and I was down. So you'd have these familiar names on Twitter that always hated me, jumping on the bandwagon. "Oh yeah, I always said he was this, that, and the other." And that really annoyed me. But I kept my mouth shut, and even though I was dying to get on the phone and give my reasons, saying, you know, "Fuck off, snowflakes," whatever, I just didn't. But I struggled. And the true story is, I lied awake all that night. And I remember Ella went to the toilet about 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, and I said, "Right, I need to do something." So I generally always turn to exercise when I'm in bad form. I just get that endorphin release. You can either turn to alcohol or exercise. Everyone knows that, and we all know which the right one is to turn to. So I put on my runners, and I went down to Lahinch Beach at 5:30 in the morning. Now, I mean, it was lashing rain. And I ran up and down the beach for about 45 minutes to an hour and started roaring at the sky, saying, you won't get the better of me." Like, I kind of lost my mind, like. And I came back and I had a shower, and I felt it 10 times better, and it did blow over, you know. And it was
that
gone.
as bad as it got, Rory? I mean, did it ever get abusive outside of that? Like, do people? I mean, we all know with that a big following you got, it's got to be a segment of that that just nasty, isn't it? Just people will
Yeah,
always.
like there's a lot of scumbags out there, and that's the only way to describe the people. Like, if you don't like something, that is fine. Like, but save that conversation for a bar stool or for your house. You don't need to go online. And like, I
Yeah,
think the Caroline Flack situation really highlighted that something needs to change. Like at the world we live in now, anyone can get a Twitter account and basically text anyone in the world, and it's up for them to see it or not.
yeah,
And I would consider myself fairly thick-skinned. I wouldn't be in this game if I wasn't. But the likes of my sister and my mom wouldn't it be as thick? And they were hurt over this. They were like this. Like, why are they calling you this? What's wrong with people? And my sister gets very agitated. Like, oh, if we seen them, I swear to God, I'd go for them and all this kind of stuff. But Carol, that's just the world we live in. And I've had a few hairy ones since. That was definitely the worst. But I think in hindsight, the best thing I ever done was I didn't back down. I didn't put up an apology saying, I didn't mean to offend anyone, because funny enough, we were out in the Hinch that evening having dinner, and there was a couple at the bar, and they go, "Oh, come on, Rory, geez, your video yesterday was gas." Myself and the missus were laughing our heads off, and I couldn't allow my mind to say, "Look at this fella saying it was good," to my face, as all I could think about was the online abuse. And that's the human brain. We always think a negative for some strange reason,
I mean, once the listener base, and I know in my own circle, the videos get shared around. I mean, it's always the timing. Myself and Nicola, wife Nicola, we said that's what we always comment on. How quick you must be sitting on the fucking couch, and as soon as something happens in that world on the 9 News, it feels like you're out. You have the video lined up and it's gone. I mean, where does that come from? Are you sort of thinking that way, that when something happens or you see something, something going on in society, that bang, I'm going to get on that, or is it more you wait and see how things plan out? We're always amazed by how quick and how on point them videos are.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's, I have a very addictive personality, and that's why gambling was obviously not good for me. So I like most, I suppose, successful people, I find it hard to switch off. And whenever there is anything happening, my mind, as you can imagine, goes 100 mile an hour. Even that recent skit I done to reacting to Leo Varadkar's speech with me and my kids on the couch, and we all lost the plot. I suppose, jeez, you can hear him there now. I suppose I was there waiting with the camera, and the minute Leo Varadkar stopped speaking, we were all on. It was even that morning I'd filmed the reaction, so I had them clips done. And then the minute Leo Varadkar said what I needed him to say, boom, put it into my editor, bang, bang, online. And I suppose you have to just be on the ball with social media, because minutes are huge. If there's breaking news, people go to their phone, and if you're there, bang, it just flies. And that's what I learned over time.
Yeah, you touched on the book there. I'd imagine this time has given you a bit of a chance to sort of sit down and, I suppose, have time with the book. What's the idea of this book? I mean, what's the general story going to be?
So the first book I done was the Guide to the GA, which obviously was a humour stocking filler, went very well. And then I've done one the following year, Guide to Being Irish, which was a similar kind of a comedy book, which both went very well. So I took last year off, and Gil, the publisher, was saying you should do another book about whatever, and I didn't have the hunger for a comedy book. So basically, the book we went for, which is my story, pretty much so we're actually handing it in now next week, so it's pretty much there. So it's basically about education when I was growing up, and I was one of these lads that got kicked out of class every day, misunderstood in school. It wasn't that I was a real bollocks, I just was too hyper for school. And I know for a fact that a lot of builders can relate to me, and whenever I talk on site, they're like, I just had no attention span in school, no interest in learning. And when you don't want to learn, you generally get kicked out of class because you're distracting everyone else. And that was my school days. And what I am advocating about is that no child should be kicked out of class. If you are, you should be sent somewhere else where someone can say, is everything okay with you? No one knows what goes on behind closed doors at home. And I'm very passionate about that. And I've done LCA myself, and I visit a lot of schools and talk to the students, and they feel that because I'm in youth reach or because I done LCA, I've nothing going for me, and I want to banish that. I want to be the proof, like, you know, and listen, I can't spell and I have fucking 2, potentially 3 best-selling books, and that's why I feel the book is good time. And so it's a very honest story. Like I wrote it with Dermot Crowe from the Sun Independent because, yes, I can write a book myself, which I proved, but I think a book like this needed to be done by a professional.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really happy with it. Like it's very, very interesting. Like people will relate to like stuff I done in school. I should have been expelled. You know, I talk very much passionately and honestly about dealing with depression and mental health and about the importance of sport and that in your life. So no, it's I'm really excited, to be honest with you, about it. Like,
when are you hoping to have it done now?
it should be on the shelves around kind of towards the end of September, early October.
Yeah, lovely.
So that's the plan with it.
That point you're making about school is like, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I'm junior cert educated, but would have went on to do okay. And school would have told me, they would have told me at the time, you're a failure. You're up to nothing. You're going to be nothing. You're up to nothing. It was just that I didn't fit into that system. I wasn't gonna line into this point system and study to get these points. I didn't know what all that meant, and I just wasn't built for school, I'd say. But like, I suppose what I've gone on and done since school, I'm fairly proud of, and I'm sure that I'll be able to go back. And I'm with you on 100% on that. Some people aren't built for school, some people are, and I think the system is set up that you should be, and if you're not, you're deemed as this type of failure. Whereas, you know, that's only that section of your life, and sure, what kid knows what they want to do at 14, 15 anyway.
You know,
which on that, I mean, the other thing you touched on there was you're also the safety ambassador for the CIF. I mean, you've been doing toolbox talks around mental health there. I mean, what do you think, sort of in construction, and bring this back to construction just slightly for a second? What's your opinion, having been in there now for a while? How do you think the lads take to you coming in, speaking openly about mental health? Because traditionally, lads in construction, it's just not a subject we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
How's that being received?
I suppose extremely positive would be the way to describe it. Because every talk I've done, I've had at least 1 or 2 lads either come up to me directly after the talk in private, or else message me on social media and spill their heart out. And like, because I like, now I'm not a builder. Like, I was an apprentice electrician for 2 years. It didn't work out for me. I've laboured on building sites. My best mate owns his own block lane company. I know the characters you're dealing with, and I know that, you know, when I got into this site, I'm not coming in as a PhD Trinity head with a load of fucking squiggles at the end of my CD. Like, I'm just coming in as an honest fella saying, listen lads, this is the crack. I struggle with gambling. I ask for help. I still struggle, but I exercise. I mind when I'm on the beer. All these kind of stuff. And yeah, the feedback has been really good, because there has been for a long time the macho man type of attitude on sites where, you know, what the fuck's wrong with him? He needs to kick up the hole. That kind of attitude. And I'm trying to break that down and say, listen, I was the big strong fella myself and played football, and you know, not many people would take me on, that kind of thing. But he can still suffer with depression and be that fella, you know what I mean? And that's like a fella. I done a talk in Kinsale, and a fella put his hand up and said, I just want to say, I suffer depression. I've been on medication for about 1.5 years. I'm about 2 weeks off medication, and I feel pretty good. But if I need to go back into medication, I will. And I just said straight away, give that man a round of applause. This man was in his 50s, like, and there was young lads there in their early 20s probably going, wow, if he can say it, and he's meant to be the old school, I should be able to say it. And that's why I am kind of very proud about doing these talks and sites, because I do know that every talk, at least one fella walks away and kind of questions himself, and that's job done, you know.
Hugely important. I mean, the lads are going to be streaming back towards sites next week, and who fucking knows what they've been going through the last 6 weeks when they've been locked up at home. So I mean, I think now more than ever that conversation needs to be put out there strongly. Constant your time, Rory. You've been coin with us. What's your vision? What's your company vision? I suppose we talk about companies and what business are trying to do. I mean, you're your own personal brand there. Where do you see this going?
If the truth be told, like, my main aim is to be a director of films. That's where my goal is. I've said that for a few years now. Like, I'd love to. Like, I'm a big fan of the likes of the Snapper and the Van, which I'm sure you are yourself. It's an Irish classics, and I just feel I have the experience. Not now, like, don't get me wrong. This could be 5-10 years, but I feel the life I've lived and what I've learned so far in social media, making these sketches, understanding what people are finding funny or aren't finding funny. I'd love to direct an Irish film that would rival the likes of the Snapper, where people can watch the film, laugh, cry, and everything in between. You know what I mean? I'd love to make a film, you know, based on obviously humor, but a real mental health twist to it as well. Just real life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where my goal is. I'll continue making the videos for now and the books and the shows, but you know, TV show obviously, yeah, will be good now, but I do believe a lot of the young audience are all social media heads, and you know, I was only saying to Mum the other day, like, I'm lucky that during the lockdown I've been doing a video every day that's getting minimum 200,000-300,000 views, like, and there's not too many TV shows that do that on a daily basis, you know. So I don't know if there's any need for me to push towards the likes of the RT or TV3. Yeah, I'd be interested in talks, but I've built everything I have myself, like, you know what I mean, and I trust in my own gut feeling, you know. So just keep doing that, like.
It's a beautiful thing. The internet has removed the middleman. You know, we don't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, go back a previous generation. You would have had to go to them stations and try and find your way in. You would have had to go to the local comedy show and try and build your way up. But the beautiful thing with the internet is it's completely removed that middleman, where we can do. I'm in a internet business myself, and I love it. I love the fact that I don't have to answer to someone else. We can build something on the internet and just go and do it. I have to say thanks. You've given me a fucking laugh and a half over the last few weeks when I need it in this house, and I'm sure that goes for every Irish family around the country. You will be remembered for that. I'm confident that I think people always look back when they're locking their gaff and they're getting a video a day and crying, laughing at that. So from behalf of myself, on behalf of other people that listen, thanks for that. For the one person that's probably listening that hasn't heard or seen your stories, where can they find them?
Yeah, I suppose Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all the usual kind of YouTube. They're all in YouTube, and that everyone knows YouTube. That's probably the easiest bet, like, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate them words, and like, you know, I am cautious that we are in a pandemic, and nurses and doctors are, you know, and don't get me wrong, Tesco workers, Super Value workers are working their arses off. So I take it upon myself. My job is to make people laugh, and I just feel that it's up to me to work hard as well, like as these, to try and give people a bit of a bright giggle. And as I said, hopefully, you know, when things go back to normal, I might sell a few shows that people can come and have a laugh in real life, as they say. Like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Keep it up, Rory, and there's absolutely no doubt that film will be there. I'm sure of it, absolutely sure of it. So keep it up. We're screaming, laughing here, so please keep it up. Rory, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
No bother, Ciaran. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.